What's up, everybody? What's up, MGTOW? This video is going to be on what is the Universal Law Commission. First, to start off, I just wanted to say that I'm definitely an advocate of child support. I'm not against child support in any way. Although saying that, I do think that it should be a very strict, itemized type of thing, either using a debit card or some type of card, or even maybe some type of blockchain technology, which can itemize all expenses and make sure that the majority of the expenses are spent directly on the child, opposing the way that it's done now, where there's no way to really track or trace where the money's being spent. So, what is the Universal Law Commission, also known as the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws? I had looked up how no-fault divorce was enacted a while back and ran into the ULC after a brief Wikipedia search. California, under Governor Ronald Reagan, was the first state to enact no-fault divorce in 1970, and the last state was New York in 2010. Now, this probably isn't news to anyone. Recently, I received some valuable information from a commenter about child support, and more specifically, he was suggesting that child support was enacted to replace welfare as the main source of supporting unwed and divorced mothers. I looked into what he was saying and found a few interesting articles about the history of child support, which will be linked below. One of the more interesting historical points was that child support laws began when child labor laws were put in place. At first, local charities offered support for the mothers in exchange for the mothers providing services and labor to the community. Over time, laws were made to extract resources from the father. However, these laws varied from state to state. Also, it was becoming hard for the states to gain the resources from the fathers outside of the jurisdiction of the state the mother was living in. After many series of laws were enacted over the decades and centuries, eventually the ULC, an unelected board of officials, worked to create uniform laws which would allow judges to get child support from the father no matter where he was. Well, the ULC is not a federal agency. In fact, it is a non-profit, not to be confused with a not-for-profit, commission of lawyers, legislators, and judges whom are appointed by the government of each state that they live in. The process of appointment varies by state, and there is no specific term limit for the appointees. The headquarters of the ULC is located in Chicago, Illinois. So, this is a bit interesting to me, since the same board of unelected officials has enacted both no-fault divorce and child support. These unelected lawyers might stand to benefit or profit from these laws if by chance they work within the family court system. If this is the case, then there could be grounds for conflict of interest. However, I cannot see which of the roughly 350 board members work within the family court system. Saying that, the current president of the ULC, at least according to Wikipedia, is Anita Ramasastry. Quote, as of 2011, Ramasastry is a senior advisor in the International Trade Administration at the U.S. Department of Commerce as part of the Obama administration. Ramasastry is a member of the Department of Commerce Internet Policy Task Force. End quote. She also received the University of Washington Outstanding Public Service Award for Immigrant Family Advocacy Project 2002. Alright, so according to the United Nations 1992 Convention on the Rights of the Child, quote, the upbringing and development of children and a standard of living adequate for the children's development is a common responsibility of both parents and a fundamental right for children, and asserts that the primary responsibility to provide such rests with their parents. End quote. As we can see here, unlike the United States laws, the United Nations does not distinguish any responsibilities between custodial and non-custodial parents. It turns out that the ULC enacted the Uniform Interstate Family Support Act also in 1992. The act, as they claim, corrected jurisdictional deviations. In short, it made it so that one parent could not change jurisdictions. The non-custodial parent would still be subject to child support laws of the state in which the custodial parent lived in. Now, I'm no legal or political expert, but I do find it interesting that these laws that disproportionately affect men have been passed by an unelected board of officials and international representatives with very little input or discussion with the public, and specifically men who pay most of the taxes. These laws are imposed in a top-down fashion, putting more stress on fathers, fueling the family courts, and lining the pockets of the top consumer class in the Western world, i.e. women. All the while, I don't see any specific workable laws that would allow for detailed itemized spending to make sure that the resources were spent directly on the children. So yeah, that's about it. I really don't have any specific conclusion here. Just wanted to put out some information that might connect some of these dots together with what's been going on. And that's all I got for this one. Have a good day and go MGTOW.